Have with me tonight Vice President Commissioner Mike Hart, Commissioner Mark Cox, Commissioner Catherine Grasso, and Commissioner Todd Ireland. I think that we're going to do a pledge of allegiance. So if everyone please stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So if I could have a motion to approve the agenda.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. I make a motion to approve and adopt the agenda as submitted.
Second.
I have a motion and a second that we approve and adopt the agenda as presented. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Kernan?
Good evening. I'm Greg Kernan, Vice Chair of the Planning Commission. I will now call the roll for the Planning Commission. Commissioner Tui,
Present.
Commissioner Dr. Holler,
Here.
Commissioner Williams,
Here.
Commissioner Freeland.
Here.
Again, I'm Greg Kernan, and Vice and Chair Maria Bueller is not with us this evening. Sorry. Chris Gadway, brand new.
Present.
Thank you, sir. Don't want to need that. We're all here and present.
Thank you. So that brings us to our first public hearing, Department of Planning and Zoning, proposed Vale House Historic District designation.
Good evening, Mary Beth Kolk, Director of Planning and Zoning. The purpose of this public hearing is to provide the public an opportunity to comment on the proposed creation of the new historic district, the Vale House, following by a second hearing on the proposed expansion of the county's rural legacy areas. This hearing is held per the Commissioner's adopted guidelines for conduct of public hearings and meetings per Resolution 6-89. This hearing has been properly advertised as required by law. The Board adopted a resolution in 1989 intending to maintain the order and decorum of the governmental process. The Ethics Commission has asked that we remind speakers at public comment that lobbyists include those who seek to influence public policy, and lobbyists must register in advance. Since this public hearing is being held virtually and in person, the public can attend by viewing the live stream on the county's website. However, if you wish to speak, you must either sign in on one of the sheets to my left or use the raised hand function if attending by Zoom, or call 888-475-4499 or 877-853-5257 and enter the meeting code 899-4188-8251. If asked, the passcode is pound, and then listen to the board's meeting until called upon to speak. When the floor is open for comment for this hearing, those in attendance will be called upon first in the order they signed up. Those calling in will need to press *9. Speakers will be identified by the last 4 digits of their phone number and unmuted when called upon. Speakers will be asked to state their name and address. Speakers who are providing comments as individuals will be allocated 2 minutes. Comments being made by designated representatives of a group will be allocated 5 minutes. And Chris Sperling will present the first hearing for the Vale House.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Christopher Sperling, Department of Planning and Zoning. Here today for the Vale House Historic District designation. Background. Overlay districts are created to impose special regulations in addition to those of the underlying zoning for a given property or area. A historic district is one of 4 types of overlay districts in Calvert County. The other 3 are agricultural preservation districts, districts allowing the use of transferable development rights, and critical area districts. Calvert County historic districts, following the procedures used for any zoning change, require a joint public hearing. Discussion. Mr. Donald P. McDougall applied for historic district designation for the property to be known as the Vale House at 1428 South Solomons Island Road, Solomons, Maryland 20688, parcel 20, tax map 44B. The Historic District Commission unanimously voted to recommend the designation of the Vale House Historic District at their meeting on March 8, 2023. The HDC's decision was based upon a finding that the application met the criteria of Chapter 57 of the County Code Historic Districts. Fiscal impact, none. Conclusion. Staff recommends that the Board of County Commissioners and the Planning Commission review the application for designation, consider public comments, close the record, and take action. I have a brief presentation if you'll allow. Down, okay, thank you.
Well, it doesn't make the cool sound.
So the purpose of this presentation is to provide background, to provide the findings of the Historic District Commission, and to provide the HDC recommendation. The Vale House is located at 1428 South Solomons Island Road and is shown on Tax Assessor's Map 44B, Parcel 20, as you can see on the maps here. The namesake of the house is Philip Terry Vale, who was began a career as a fisherman and is currently buried in Suffolk County, New York. However, during the early 1900s, Captain Vale moved to Solomons Island, where he built a house and raised his family. Down to Solomons. On Solomons, Captain Vale enjoyed success as a pound net fisherman. As you can see here, this is a NOAA Fisheries depiction of pound net fishing. It's a little bit like a weir where the fish are gathered into a collection area. However, he also suffered tragedy. In June of 1904, he lost his son, Kenneth Owen, in an accident on Solomons Island Wharf. You can see the newspaper entry here. Although Captain Vale may have returned to his home in New York, his house remains in Solomons Island, a beautiful Queen Anne-style home that has stood for over a century and continues to catch the eye of locals and visitors alike. The HDC recommends the designation of the Vale House as a Calvert County Historic District based on County Code Chapter 57-8A, 1A, and D, and Chapter 57-8A, 2A, and C. As far as process, the BOCC directed staff to schedule this hearing, as did the Planning Commission. It was advertised for the appropriate period, and we're currently at the joint public hearing location. If the commissioners have any questions for me, I would happily take them at this time. To date, this office has not received any public comment regarding the designation application.
Are the McDougalls in attendance?
I do, sir.
Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Anyone signed up to speak?
No speakers signed up.
There are no speakers.
Thank you.
Mr. President, we make a motion?
I believe the Planning
Planning
Commission
Commission.
Oh, they
takes
make
the first
the motion, okay.
action.
I'm sorry.
We
My
vote
fault.
first.
Mr.
So-
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I move to close the public record.
And approve.
Yes, and approve the application.
Motion by Commissioner.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Tui. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Lisa Williams, did you vote? Commissioner Williams? We'll move on. Mr. President, our motion is to approve and close the record.
So, Commissioners, you've heard the recommendation from the Planning Commission is to close the record and approve the application.
Mr. President, I move that we close the record and approve, adopt, and enact the ordinance approving the historic district overlay for the property known as the Vale House at 14280 South Solomons Island Road, Solomons, Maryland 20688.
Second?
Have motion and a second that we approve this request. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So that brings us to the second public hearing, Department of Planning and Zoning.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
My name is Jennifer David. I'm the Rural Planner in Planning and Zoning, and I will be presenting the Rural Legacy Area expansion that has been proposed for you this evening. Background. The Board of County Commissioners requested to reconvene the original Transferable Development Rights Committee established in 2015 to review the county's preservation efforts and the TDR program and make recommendations for BOCC consideration. Meeting over several months in 2020, the committee developed a package of recommendations designed to improve the TDR program and increase opportunities for land preservation in Calvert County. One of those recommendations was to expand the North Calvert and Calvert Creek's rural legacy areas, with the goal of increasing the number of properties eligible to participate in the program. The expansion focused on properties within the priority preservation area, contiguous with the existing rural legacy areas. The proposed expansion received Agricultural Preservation Advisory Board approval on December 6, 2021. Discussion. The Rural Legacy Area Expansion proposal was included as part of the fiscal year 23 Rural Legacy Program grant application, which was submitted to DNR for review with Board of County Commissioner approval. The Rural Legacy Area Expansion proposal received approval from the Board of Public Works on October 8, 2022. Fiscal impact. There is no fiscal impact of this proposal. Conclusion, recommendation. Staff requests that the Board of County Commissioners and the Planning Commission hold the public hearing, consider public comment, close the record, and take action on the proposed expansion of the North Calvert and Calvert Creek's rural legacy areas. I also have a short presentation for you this evening. The purpose of the joint public hearing this evening and this presentation is to review and discuss the proposed rural legacy area expansion, to receive and consider public comment, and to take action on the proposed expansion. In 2020, the Board of County Commissioners voted to reconvene the Transferable Development Rights Committee, originally created in 2015, to review the TDR program and make recommendations for program improvements. One of the recommendations made by the committee was to propose an expansion of the rural legacy areas to include all of the designated priority preservation area to increase the number of properties eligible for the program. To review the Rural Legacy Program. The Rural Legacy Program is a state of Maryland land preservation easement program overseen by the Department of Natural Resources and administered by the counties. This program provides funding to preserve large contiguous tracts of land to enhance natural resource, agricultural, forestry, and environmental protection. It supports a sustainable land base for natural resource-dependent industries, creates public-private partnerships between local land trusts and local governments, protects working landscapes critical to the environment and local economies, and it targets the most ecologically valuable properties impacting local waterways and the Chesapeake Bay. How the Rural Legacy Program fits in with Comprehensive Plan. Since the first comprehensive plan, the county's goal has been to preserve its rural character while also promoting its economic development. And the vision of this plan is a landscape that's dominated by forests and fields and town centers that are attractive, convenient, and interesting places to live, work, and shop. A primary goal of the comprehensive plan is to preserve the rural character, prime farmland, contiguous forests, and environmentally sensitive areas. And the Rural Legacy Program is an important tool to help us reach the comprehensive plan's vision and goals. So what are the benefits of the Rural Legacy Area expansion? The expansion improves land preservation mechanisms in Calvert County. By increasing participation in state programs, we leverage state funds and provide additional opportunities for preservation. With the expansion of the rural legacy areas, more properties would become eligible to apply for rural legacy grant funding. Currently, the rural legacy areas do not encompass all of Calvert County's priority preservation areas, which have historically been targeted as areas to limit development and focus preservation efforts for planning purposes. On the screen is a map of the existing rural legacy areas. The rural legacy areas, there are two areas in the county. The first is the North Calvert Rural Legacy Area. That is the area shown in the northwest corner of the map in magenta. And the Rural Legacy Area in North Calvert is currently comprised of 1,043 parcels and covers 9,554 acres. The Calvert Creeks Rural Legacy Area is the larger of the two, and it currently is comprised of 2,898 parcels and covers 23,705 acres. It's shown in blue in the middle and southern sections of the county. This slide is a slide of the priority preservation areas in the county. The designated priority preservation areas are those identified as having the greatest potential for maintaining a viable level of agricultural or forestry production. These areas are set aside for farming and natural resource related uses with most of the residential growth targeted away from these areas. On this map, the priority preservation areas are shown in green. As you can see, mostly lands on the western side of Calvert County along the Patuxent River. Town centers are shown in purple, and the beaches are shown in the top right corner in orange. This is a map of the proposed expansion. The proposed expansion areas include 2,137 parcels and cover 17,563 acres. The expanded area, the area that would be included in the new proposal should it be adopted, is shown in gold or orange. The North Calvert expansion would cover 1,633 of those acres, while the Calvert Creeks expansion would include 1,868 of those, cover 1,868 parcels and cover 15,930 acres. It's important to note that should this expansion become adopted, that the proposed expansion will increase the rural legacy eligible area in Calvert County by more than 50%. In conclusion, staff requests the Board of County Commissioners and Planning Commission hold the public hearing, consider public comment, close the record, and take action on the proposed expansion of the North Calvert and Calvert Creeks rural legacy areas. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Any questions?
Jen, this is a voluntary program, right?
Yes, sir. This is a voluntary program. The expansion of these areas will have no detrimental effect on any of the landowners in those areas. All it simply does is provide the opportunity for anyone interested in those areas to have the opportunity to preserve their properties that they have not had before.
So this is one more tool in the toolbox of land preservation.
Exactly.
Options
This is
for the
one
county.
more tool we'll have in the toolbox.
So how many acres are currently preserved under rural legacy now?
Under rural legacy right now, the current acreage that is preserved under rural legacy is approximately 2,000. And that number is 2,402 acres.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You mentioned there was no cost to the county. The Department of Natural Resources are the funding source for this.
No, there's no fiscal impact to Calvert County.
Speakers.
We have two speakers. First speaker, speaking as an individual, Greg Bowen. I'm sorry, Commissioner Williams, did you have something to say?
Yes, so is this, so they can get grants under this Rural Legacy?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. The Rural Legacy Program is, the county operates it in conjunction with the Southern Maryland RC&D as a partner in our program. And the grants come via DNR. And currently, for this coming year, there's approximately $3.2 million in grants available for preservation between both of the Rural Legacy areas.
Okay, thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Mr. Bowen.
Mr. Bowen.
Thank you. My name is Greg Bowen. I live at 1235 Mallard Point Road, Prince Frederick, Maryland, speaking as an individual. I really appreciate the county for bringing this matter forward. I think it's entirely consistent with the county's long-term planning. As a matter of fact, Calvert County, most of you know, was the first county in the state to adopt a land preservation program. The citizens in the Pleasant Peninsula Plan many, many years ago made it a priority to preserve lands, and so the county came up with the first plan to do it. Rural Legacy is a very good tool for land preservation. And I'll give just a little bit more context here. When the first ones were established, the area that you were designating as Rural Legacy had to have at least 50% already protected in order for you to create it. And so only Parker's Creek and Battle Creek was included in the Rural Legacy area. The next, the county went and expanded down the river to all of the lands, the prime farmlands along Patuxent River, until most of that was protected. And then we moved up to the northern creeks, the northern area to get that designation. So we couldn't make it all at one time. And so it's been a progressive process. And so this is the next effort. Let's bring Hunting Creek in and some of those additional areas that are prime and need to be protected. I support the effort, and I appreciate you bringing it forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next speaker, Frank McPhillips, representing Friends of Hunting Creek.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Commissioners, my name is Frank McPhillips, and I live in Huntingtown. I'm speaking to you today as a representative of the Friends of Hunting Creek, one of several Friends groups in the county that advocate for our watersheds. The Friends of Hunting Creek would like to applaud the efforts of the commissioners and the county staff in considering the inclusion of the additional priority preservation areas as new rural legacy areas to increase the number of properties eligible for the program. The presentation we saw from Ms. Davis outlined the many benefits for this proposed change and pointed out that it would be consistent with the comprehensive plan and our continued efforts to retain the rural character of the county. And it would also protect ecologically valuable properties that annually provide millions of dollars in a wide range of ecosystem services. We're particularly pleased that to see that the additional areas under consideration include land around Hunting Creek. Giving property owners further incentive to protect the lands that adjoin Hunting Creek and the many other areas of the county of vital ecological importance can only work in all of our favor. It would support the maintenance of habitat both in the waterways as well as on the lands that surround them, which benefits everyone from the folks who live there, bird watchers, and naturalists, and even those who hunt or fish. So it's important to note that the preservation status generally does not diminish land values for neighboring properties, but instead often has a positive effect. Given the universally positive impact of expanding the rural legacy areas, the Friends of Honey Creek respectfully ask that the county adopt the proposed expansion of the North Calvert and Calvert Creek's rural legacy areas and continue the important work to protect our precious natural environment and the beautiful place that is Calvert County. And lastly, we urge county staff to get the word out to all the landowners with the properties in these areas so they can become better educated about the program and its benefits, and so that more eligible areas will be preserved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There are no more speakers.
Thank you. Can I have a recommendation or motion, please, Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move to close the record and support the proposed expansion of the North Calvert and Calvert Creek rural legacy areas.
Thank you, Commissioner Freeland. Second by Commissioner Gadway. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Mr. President?
Opposed.
Okay, we have one opposition, okay. Thank you, Lisa. Our recommendation is to close the record and support the expansion of the Calvert Creek and North Calvert rural legacy areas.
Thank you. So fellow commissioners, you've heard the recommendation of the planning commission. Are there any other questions or discussion or actions?
I have none.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we close the record, approve and adopt and enact the ordinance approving the expansion of the North Calvert and Calvert Creek's rural legacy areas.
Second.
Have a motion and a second that we adopt the recommendation of the planning commission. Any other discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. So, I just want to make a little public service announcement. Now that we've done that, I have an opportunity. Anybody out there that's watching or listening that has property, I would strongly encourage you to contact the Department of Planning and Zoning and look into preservation opportunities. There are many programs out there that, depending on the characteristics of your property, there's a misnomer in the community that the best value is always for development. That is not true. Depending on the characteristics of your property, there may be higher value in preservation. There's also a misnomer that you lose value once you preserve your property, and we have historical data to show that that is not true either. Preserved properties, depending on their characteristics, can bring more money after they're preserved. So there's lots of opportunity out there, and I just want to encourage anybody out there that owns property, contact Department of Planning and Zoning and look into preservation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank
Thank you.
We need a motion to adjourn.
Yes, sir, Mr. President, make a motion to adjourn.
Second. I have a motion and a second that we adjourn. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.